bags full of chocolate money.
This is the Onion News Network.
Cop Block Radio, you can call in on Skype. Our username is Cop Block Radio. You can also dial in 413-418-COPS. I want to hear from you. What do you think about the police in your area? Do you do cop blocking? Do you feel alone? You can join up with other cop blockers, copblock.org/groups. Check out this show at copblock.org/show. Interact with other listeners in the chat room. It's me here, Derek.
And Dio.
And Severin.
Yeah, and I want to talk about Whataburger. Have you guys heard this story?
No. Yeah, far too often in this last week we've been hearing these stories.
Oh, Whataburger, yeah, I heard that.
Yeah. So, a worker refuses a cop service. Cop says, most ironic thing ever. That's the headline from Joshua Scott Hodgkin. He writes, an employee at Whataburger restaurant in Louisville, Texas, is most recent disgruntled American to refuse to offer their services to police officers. This is the third such tale of people refusing to serve Leos I've written about this week alone. Starbucks, and then he links to the others, which are Starbucks employee denies cop bathroom use, and Red Rock Canyon Grill refuses service to gun policy confusion. Officers Michael McGovern and Cameron Beckham were told, "We don't serve police officers," by an employee before they even ordered. And when the employee said no more, the officers left. And yet, rather than just take it on the chin and realize that there may be people who have very valid reasons to wish to avoid any interaction whatsoever with police, the officers reported the incident to somebody who then reported it to the restaurant, who released the following statement. And this is from Whataburger's Facebook page. They say, quote, "We were appalled to hear of an employee refusing service to two officers, as we have proudly served first responders across our system for decades. As soon as we heard of this isolated incident, we began our own internal investigation overnight. The employees that refused service the employee that refused service is no longer employed with Whataburger. We've also invited the officers back today so we can apologize in person and make this right." And that post got 28,000 likes, over 300 comments, and over 5,000 shares.
Boo.
How do you respond, gentlemen?
I think they get a little something on their nose there, a little brown spot on their nose. That's what I think.
I'm just, you know, this case in particular, yeah, it was some guy that shouldn't have. He was going against the policy there. It was some guy that had a hard-on for cops that just basically said, "Get out! I'm not dealing with you." But the other two cases in this past week, the Starbucks and the restaurant, the Starbucks has a general policy that says you must be a paying customer to use our bathroom.
Yeah.
Cop walks in and wants special treatment.
Yeah.
The cop walks in and wants special treatment. He says he walks in uniform, walking the beat, and he wants special treatment. He walks in to use the bathroom, and the employee says, "I'm sorry, I got to do my job. My job is you must pay for something if you want to use our bathroom." Cops
just doing my job, sir.
Yeah, that's the best part, though, because the cops use that as their excuse to be able to arrest people for victimless crimes. They're just doing their job. They're good guys that are just doing their job. So here's an employee at Starbucks just doing her job, and now she's facing firing because of it. Because she didn't kiss a cop's butt.
Well, at least I appreciate the honesty. Maybe he was going against company policy, but I'll tell you what, if I were there, I would do the same thing.
Oh, I totally would too.
You know, I don't get a choice of whether or not I pay for the police. All the taxes are just taken from us without asking. You know, we don't have a choice in whether or not we want these people or want their services. You know, I wish I could say when the cops show up to arrest somebody for smoking a joint or having an open container of alcohol, "Hey, officer, you know, there aren't any problems here. I don't want your service right now. I'd like this man to be left alone. Or maybe I could even pay him to leave him alone. Hey, I'll take your service. Now leave. You're my employee. Get out of here. Either way, the cops do what they want. They're not employees in the general sense that we know, like at Whataburger, where you're supposed to serve everybody. And if you don't want service there, then you don't pay for it. You don't go in. You actually get a choice whether or not you want a Whataburger. There's no one saying you will pay for a Whataburger whether you like it or not, and we will serve you the shittiest food. I mean, I don't know how their food is. The cop service is pretty shitty, and I don't even want it. And it's expensive. So, anyway.
It's probably a good assumption with
I'm
Whataburger.
not really big on the whole conspiracy theory ideas and all the... some things make sense, some things don't to me. I don't jump into every conspiracy theory, but it seems awful coincidental to me that while the cops are in the media pushing this war on cops happening right now, suddenly every news station for the last week is reporting 3 incidents while the cops are refused service and making a big deal out of it. It seems... I wonder if these businesses were like paid off to do this, to make the media... to make media time.
Well, let's see. That's the part about it, Severin. That's the part about all this whole, that they're supposed to be held in this higher regard and stuff, as though they don't put their pants on like we do. It just is, it gives them the excuse to do all that kind of stuff, and it also it makes it so that you can't say, like I can't say no more. I can't put it past them. You know what I mean? Like, there's nothing I hear anymore. There's nothing that I can hear that I will not believe when it comes to cops, because of what I've seen and heard so far with my own eyes and ears, let alone with what I see, in what I look at as the news every day.
Well, when you look at this other case, the other one that wasn't the Starbucks one, the one before that, some grill place.
Right.
Okay, this is
Red Rock Canyon Grill.
Yes, it was an off-duty officer, okay, a reserve officer. He decides to put on his cop uniform on a day off with his gun and walk into a restaurant that has a clear, open policy that says no guns allowed. It seems like he wanted this issue. He wanted the problem that day so that he could run and cry about it.
Well, it can also be
off-duty.
I think it can. If that is true, Severin, I think it could also be that that cop being from that area, knowing the worker was working there, who that person may be, maybe he might have arrested him before, and maybe decided, hey, I'm gonna get back at this fucking kid now, and I'm gonna go to his job and I'm gonna fuck with him, so they fire him.
Yeah.
I
mean, it's just entitlement. Like, you wear this cop uniform, okay, you get free coffee 90% of the places you go. You get special treatment everywhere you go. And then when one person wants to treat you like everyone else, you have to throw a fit on social media and get the businesses to disavow their decision. I'm sorry, but if I ran a business, I would promote those employees for standing up for what's right.
Amen, brother. I'm happy to see some pushback. Remember the Seattle coffee shop that said they don't serve any police?
Yes, and I love them.
In there? Like, sorry, man. Not in that uniform. Come back another day.
Yeah, it was a young hipster guy that ran the coffee shop, right?
Right, and he did a press release when he was pushed about it because he did get some pushback, and he said, no, I stand by my decision. You could go to any other coffee shop you want, not mine. Stay out. Yep. I like to see business owners do that because it means more than just when the general public do it. You and me, we get rolled over. If I'll speak for myself, the taxes get extracted from my paychecks when I work for a regular company. So it's like, and I know it's going to the police forces, and that's going to locking away peaceful people like my friends and neighbors. I don't want to see that. I don't want that. But at least a business is empowered enough to say, not on my private property. I have a right to refuse any customer. Get the F out.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Rock famously said that about that. He's like, you don't pay taxes, they take taxes.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's what you get. That's the service you get for it, too.
Well, when we come back, we're going to have to take a quick break to the free market for just a moment. But when we come back, I want to share with you a video that Eyre produced this week. How I notified a cop's neighbors of his misconduct. And I had something to do with this one. It was Officer Moore who tackled me while I was in Keene. Pete went to his neighbors' houses and Well, we've got the video to share with you next. This is something that you and anyone could do, and it's empowering. You don't just have to pay the police to take away your rights.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know...
How butthurt was that cop when he went around and knocked on all his neighbors' doors and protested outside?
No, I'll tell you, he's awfully friendly to me now.
I bet. He's like, damn, they know where I live. I better watch myself.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, I remember one of my first times back. It was Thanksgiving Day, and I happened to be in Keene. I was passing him in a car. I was in the passenger's side, and I waved. Oh, hi, smiled. He waved back, and I knew it was uncomfortable for him because it's like he knows that karma didn't come back to him. He knows it's like it's waiting. He's like got this uncomfortable feeling like one day, in some way, karma's going to return. When you do really bad things to people, I just feel like the universe has a way, and that's not any kind of threat on my behalf. I am a peaceful person. I would never threaten violence on anyone. But
see, but karma already has gotten him. I can't believe at all that a person doesn't have a conscience, that even if they play tough and play like they did their job and they did the right thing out in the public, when he goes home and it's quiet at his house, you know he thinks to himself, what I did was wrong there.
Well, I know. Well, we'll talk about some of the things that he did, but I believe it included a phone call and to his personal home and talking to his wife, about what he does, because it can't be good. Like, you got to come home and talk about your day at work, right? You talk about that kind of stuff with your partner,
Yeah.
and I think the wife has to know that this guy is an animal. I mean, he brutalizes people every day. And it can't feel good to know that that's where her food is coming from. When it arrives on the table, it's from brutalism. It's from taking advantage of weak, helpless people.
Do you want to just talk quick when we come back about my court case?
Yeah, we didn't get to that. Sorry about that. It slipped my mind. Let's do it.
Hey, yeah, don't forget they're waiting. The people are probably waiting for that douchebag thing too. So just keep that in the back of your mind too.
Right. Okay, so I got Pete Eyre's video loaded.
Yeah.
Let's do that first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because we just left off with it. And
Right,
then
right.
it's over. When Peter, it's like 3.5 minutes, and then when that's over, we'll talk about your thing, and then we'll finish up with the douchebag thing.
Yeah,
That
perfect.
video's like 6 minutes, so it'll probably take us into the next segment.
Cool.
Cool, man. Man, I'm hungry. Ugh.
You still haven't gotten any food?
How could I? I'm doing a show.
Isn't your guy there? Tell him to go get you some food.
No, he's working out.
Oh.
He's at this gym for only sexy people. It's weird. It's like everyone there is already so built. It was really intimidating to go there. I went there a couple of times with him as the guest pass, and everyone's just Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. And I'm sitting there like trying to do like dips and lifts and stuff. It's not good. It's inspiring though. It makes me want to work harder.
You want to laugh at something?
Sure.
You stole my wife away.
What? How's that?
my wife sees you on the radio and the picture of you naked on the beach and stuff, and she's like, if he wasn't gay, I would totally.
That's fucking crazy, dude.
My wife thinks that you're a very attractive young man. That's how she puts it.
Everybody thinks he's a very attractive young man.
Thank you. I'm flattered, guys. You're stroking my ego here.
I do.
Aww.
Hey, Dio, man, we might have to take a demo up on his offer when he's done his tour to take the Mac and go on and script me and you.
I'm down.
I'm down. As soon as
Cali.
East Coast.
Please contribute to your
East
via their
Coast
website.
Mac tour.
Amplifier at
All right, we're doing Pete's video, your thing, and then
amp.lrn.fm.
douchebag. Douchebag cops. How to stop them. We'll show you 2 ways in this segment, and plus we'll hear of Severin's adventures in legal land. But first, how did Pete Eyre notify a cop's neighbors of his misconduct? Not Pete's misconduct, the cops. Take a listen. He produced this video this week. Has something to do with Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. If you haven't seen it yet, it's free online, victimlesscrimespree.com.
A lot of people reach out to Cop Block and share a story, something that happened to them recently about when their rights got violated by a police employee, and they ask what to do. And a story I like to tell people that I think was handled really well involved my buddy Derek J. Freeman. It happened in Keene, New Hampshire. So Derek was riding his bicycle, and a police employee by the name of Fenton P. Moore drove up beside him. He had his lights and sirens on, and Derek didn't know what was going on. Derek was just coming back to where he lived and was a couple blocks away. And the police employee was yelling at him and proceeded to drive his cruiser towards Derek on his bicycle. Derek was on the sidewalk at this time. Fenton P. Moore actually put his asp through the spokes in Derek's wheel and broke some of them, causing Derek to fall on the ground. But I was at the property that Derek was heading towards, and we all immediately ran out of the property, cameras in hand, and to try to assess the situation, try to defuse it, and help our friend. The raw video was put up on a couple of different YouTube channels. Posts went out on a couple different sites. A few hours later that evening, went to the cul-de-sac where Fenton P. Moore lived, and we asked his wife, who was outside of her house at the time, if she knew Fenton P. Moore and if she would care to talk with us, and she quickly sped back into her house and refused to talk with us, and myself and a small group of friends proceeded to sing Free Derek J to the tune of Sweet Caroline. Peace on earth, peace to all, free Derek J.
I love it.
As a few more songs, we thought that was pretty non-violent way to show that we weren't supportive of what happened. And then myself and another friend went door to door to Fenton's neighbors, and some of them had been peering out of their windows what was going on, and we proceeded to tell them, just a real short statement. We said, hey, I don't want to take much of your time. I'm sure you're busy, but the reason we're out here is because your neighbor, Fenton P. Moore, assaulted our friend, Derek J. Freeman, today, and we had already written a URL to where these posts and the videos were online. We provided that to the homeowner, and we said, if you have a moment, I encourage you to check this out and see and think for yourself. I said, I know if I lived next to someone who was aggressive, I'd want to know. And we thanked the people for their time, and we did see one homeowner right away go online and start checking it out for themselves. And the primary purpose of informing his neighbors of his actions was simply reputation and transparency, so that his neighbors were aware that Fenton P. Moore, at least in that moment, wasn't an upstanding person, that he did not exhibit character traits that were worthy of mimicking, and that in fact he did the opposite, and that they may feel like they want to ostracize him or distance themselves from him, maybe not invite him to their barbecue, maybe second guess if they ask him to watch their house when they're gone, or things like that. Or if they're good friends with him, maybe they even bring it up in conversation, and Fenton P. Moore then knows and has to try to explain himself and be more accountable for his actions. If this sort of practice became more common, I think it would be a great step towards the realization of the fact that badges don't grant extra rights, and it would be a strong deterrent for police employees to victimize people.
I like this. I really like this because we have a situation here in Cleveland where we have a Cleveland police officer who killed a guy by the name of Dan Ficker here, and he owns a bar now in Fairview Park. And the magazine, the local magazine, like newspaper magazine type thing, it's they did a story on him, and they made him out to be this, like, hey, there's this shining example of the community opening a bar here in this community. Didn't mention the fact that, just said he was retired. Didn't mention that he was a retired cop and that he retired because he fucking killed somebody on their front lawn for no reason in a jurisdiction that he didn't belong in the first fucking place. So I was actually thinking about having, October being Police Brutality Awareness Month, having some type of event, a protest out in front of this guy's bar or whatnot to let people know what's going on. I also wanted to, I had mentioned this, and I don't know how to go about getting the addresses and everything, but like get the addresses of all the people that are around him and do something similar, like send out a flyer that says, this guy just opened up a business in your neighborhood, what do you think about that? He's responsible for this. and he's a retired police officer and he shot somebody on duty. So, like, I mean, what do you think about that? Do you really want to still visit this bar?
Well, it's the age of information, and nothing is more empowering than sharing that information about these public officials and their actions with their neighbors. I mean, these are the people that they engage with every day, and if they're not going to be deterred by your inability to stop paying them, then perhaps they will be deterred by some social pressure from their peers. What do you think, Severin?
I definitely agree, especially with the age of information. If I were you, Dio, I would go onto social media and try to find that bar's website and try to find the bar's Facebook page if they have one, and just start posting. Start letting people know. Somebody's going to notice, and once it gets shared once, it gets shared again and again and again.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to have I want to get like I said, some kind of flyer drawn up that would be like dual purpose to hand out to the neighbors. Also, to something like that would be, to have a JPEG of something like that would be great to actually post on that website and stuff.
Well, just to round off this segment, because I know I want to move on and hear what's going on in Severin's Legal Land world. Pete did an overview, just a few bullet points of what worked. And he lists that the incident was captured on video. The incident was not just by me, the person who was being aggressed against, but also by friends who were nearby. Witnesses gave an interview so you can have a more objective commentary. My friends had a fast response time to the incident, and those present at the incident didn't escalate, but remained calm, cool, and collected, which was one of the most important things, I think.
You looked pretty hurt in that.
Yeah,
I was on top of you.
I was crushed. I couldn't breathe. If you watch the full video, which is available, of course, at victimlesscrimespree.com and also on my YouTube channel, I'm saying to him, I can't breathe, and those are my last breaths. This is before the Eric Garner incident, and it absolutely could have been. If my friends weren't there to record and hold that man responsible for his actions, I have no doubt he would have killed me. He was ready to keep me from taking my next breath. He was not letting up, and I hadn't done anything, I remind you. All I was doing was riding my bicycle, and people don't believe me. They can watch the video for themselves. It tells the whole story. So finally, just to wrap up, what worked? We got video evidence, we got interviews from people who were witnesses, and after the incident, friends focused on their individual comparative advantages to have a bigger impact together. They went to the neighborhood of the aggressor and made their disapproval of the incident known. And then people took to social media. They posted on websites like copblock.org and their own content, their own websites about the incident. So that's all things that you can do, anyone can do to empower yourself. And network with people who can help you before you have an incident with the police, not after. All right, when we come back, I want to hear about Severin's adventures in Legal Land.
This is a national health care alert from the Health Hotline. If you...
Yeah.
Hey, Derek, for you out there, I would start a San Francisco cop block group.
Of course.
Dude, honestly, I started with just me. It was only me. I made door decals for my car and made business cards, and now we have 1,300 people in the area.
Dude, that's amazing. Okay, cool. I think this is a place where it could really take off. It's been hurting for something like this.
And there's a lot of activism out there too. It's you can go to activism meetings, like community outreach meetings, and just mention, hey, this is what I do. This is what I'm about. Give me a call. Here's my business card. Make up some quick business cards on your home printer.
It's a great idea. Yeah, absolutely. I could do that. A lot of the things I've been focusing on while I'm out here are tech-related, Bitcoin stuff, and been networking with that crowd. Not so much with the cop blocking crowd, although while looking for apartments, I mentioned that, I do some podcasts, I do cop block radio, and the women who I was actually looking to rent from said, oh, really? We do cop watch. So they record the cops, too. So it's like a thing.
I'm pretty sure that's where We Cop Watch started, was in Oakland there.
Yeah. So they were well aware of the idea of holding the police accountable with a video camera. So that was awesome. All right, so we got Legal Land, Stop a Douchebag, and a couple other things just to round out the rest of the show. Man, this is flying by.
Yeah, there's not 2 hours goes by so fast.
Boom. Oh, sweet. We got some links in the chat room to a story about an Arizona officer shot multiple times, manhunt underway. The suspects, officers in serious condition but expected to survive thanks to his vest. I don't know what you think about that story, but that's something.
It makes me mad because these people going out attacking cops are setting us back.
Yeah.
It's going to allow things to happen that are going to take more of our rights away and give the cops more power.
Yeah, violence is not the solution.
It is not, but again, that's also it's not you, man. It's that individual that did that. You have to remember that. You can't be trying to take that shit on yourself because it'll drive you fucking nuts. Trust me.
Yeah.
Good point.
I've been there. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
That's why I don't look at the comments and shit anymore, because it just gets me too riled up, and then I get focused on that shit, and instead of doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Bunch of gun cleaners out there anyway.
But yeah, the way you were saying how you were in New Hampshire there with the cops that just pretty much knew you and were used to you, that's how it is around here for me.
Good.
I'm not
Awesome.
like it's my local town. The other day I was filming a stop and they waved to me and said, "How's it going, Severin?"
Nice. Don't you like that? I mean, it could be intimidating depending on how they're doing it. Like, oh, we're watching you. But I like it as like, hey, I know you, you know me, I'm doing my job, you're doing yours.
Yep, I'm not here to cause any trouble, and you know that if I see something wrong, it's going to go national.
I think they have a level of respect for you.
I can't do that around here because I've seen them on both sides of the coin. I've seen them trying to be all nice to me and shit, and I was all nice to them. Now, the same guy that was shaking my hand and saying hello to me and shit like that was sitting there telling me I ought to know better when they fucking arrested me for filming them.
They ought to know better.
That's what I told him. I said, you ought to fucking know better.
Yeah.
Program for just $5 a month at amp.freetalklive.com and getting
That pissed me off, man.
freetalklive.com.
You can watch the LRNC.
It is good to have a relationship, but at the same time, I want to get out of this area to do some cop blocking because they all know me, and they're all just... I can't catch them doing anything. So,
Stop a Douchebag! Coming up soon. You might know them from YouTube fame. They stop drivers who are being douchebags on the road. Well, they encountered a police officer this time. We've got the video to share with you. Plus, Severin's adventures in legal land. Let us have it, Severin. What you been doing in those courtrooms?
well, I've been doing a lot. I've been all over the news, holding cops accountable. I've been, I had an instance where I just accidentally caught some of the Northampton County sheriffs who run the courthouse. They were performing an illegal search somewhere. So, my local court, there's really no justice happening in a courthouse, and I kind of just proved that the other day. I went in, I was talking about this last week that I had this coming up. I was going in to get released from probation early. My probation officer was on board. Everybody in charge was on board. They all said it was a waste of another month for me to sit on probation when everything was paid. I've met all my requirements. I did everything. I've never violated. So I went in expecting to be released. Well,
Yeah.
That's not what happened. The judge knew who I was because of the Northampton County sheriffs. And in fact, the sheriffs were giving me dirty looks when they called my name. So I approached the bench, and before I could even present any of my evidence or let anyone speak, the judge yelled at me, told me I was wasting his time, and said, "Your motion is denied. Do your last month, and you better not screw up." And pretty much threw me out of the courtroom.
So, you think he has a personal vendetta against you and wanted to punish you?
I definitely think that there was a little bit of misconduct happening there. I mean,
He didn't have to give you the month off, right? I mean,
No, but generally, anybody who's ever been to court knows generally when the prosecution's on board with something, that's what's going to happen. And the prosecution was on board. The DA was there. He was on board. My probation officer was on board. Everybody said, let him go. He's proved he's not a threat to society. And this judge he did not even let me show him one piece of paper that I had with me. I went to open my folder, and he said, "You're wasting my time. I'm not doing that."
So, is this a judge that you've encountered before in the past?
No, I've never seen him, but he will be seeing me again. That's for
How
damn
do
sure.
you know he had something against you?
Because as soon as my name was said, he said something regarding being a reporter for Cop Block, and he's like, "What kind of reporter are you that you can't get your damn judge right?" And the funny thing is, the court assigned me to him. In the morning when I went in to check in, he read over the case, and he took the case personally. He's the chief judge for Northampton County. So he knew before I even approached the bench that he was going to not grant anything I had to request.
So how you doing? Are you facing any time right now? Do you have time over your head?
No, I'm exactly 1 month from today. I'm done probation anyway. I just walked off 2 years without a violation. Cop blocking every day. It's not deterring me. I've been told by my probation officer that even if I'm charged, regardless to if it's a frivolous charge, that they're going to violate me. And I responded to that by going out that day and holding every cop I saw accountable with my video camera.
You were telling me over the break that you have 1,300 people networked in the Lehigh Valley Cop Block area. So tell me, do you think that the police there sort of have a respect for you? As you're not a gang leader or anything, but they are a gang. And so I imagine that they view the world in those terms. Do you think that they have a little bit of respect for you because of that?
Absolutely. I mean, generally when somebody calls somebody out on something like a violation of our First Amendment rights or breaking a rule, the cops will laugh at you. I mean, everybody's had that happen where a cop just tells you we can basically do what we want. We're following our rules. Your rules mean nothing to us. But when I call them out on something, they think twice. I'm going to be coming out with a video in the next few weeks, and I'm going to link it up to a copblock.org article to show all of the things that I've actually positively, personally changed. And it's a nice list of things that were happening in my area that are no longer happening, that policies have actually been changed inside City Hall. Policies have been changed inside 2 different police stations that said you can't record there. They know that when I say, no, you're breaking the law, I'm gonna follow up. If they're going to take it to this point, I'll sue if I need to, and they don't want that.
In other words, intimidation doesn't work on you.
Exactly. I treat them as my employees. When I walk into a police station, I want service. I want the person in charge there. I'm not going to talk to your lackeys. I'm going to talk to the person in charge, and I'm going to record it. And they know it, and they know that if they're caught on record breaking the law, I'm going to go above their heads.
I think your tactics are something I really admire and would like to emulate. Tell me a little bit about the decal you have behind you.
Oh, this is this decal here. That's on the side of my two cars. I call them the cop block patrol cars. It has really worked for spreading awareness. It's not so much a patrol thing to let the cops know I'm doing this. It's more of a community outreach thing, because generally if I'm going through a checkpoint or something, I'll remove them from my cars because I don't want them to know who I am. But if I'm just driving around town, you'd be surprised how many people have actually joined Lehigh Valley Cop Block just because they're on my cars and it has the Facebook link right there, and they love Cop Block. They never knew that there was a local group, and now they know. And now they've met the guy that drives around holding these cops accountable, and a lot of people want to be a part of that.
Was it difficult to get those decals?
No, I just went to my wife does graphic work, so she worked up all the graphics for it, and I just went to Vistaprint and had it made up.
What's a thing like that cost, if you don't mind disclosing that?
They were $20 each, and I have 8 of them, so I got a little deal on them.
I see, but what do you think? Have they been worth it?
Oh, absolutely. Just the amount of people that drive by that treat me like I'm a celebrity, that honk and clap because they see Cop Block all over the side of my car. It's not about an ego thing. It's just about knowing that my community out there supports what I'm doing. And there are a number of haters, of course, but I have video cameras all over my car, so if anybody tried to vandalize them, they'd be really, really stupid because they're running 24 hours a day. So,
Man. Well, speaking of things that people put on cars, have you heard of this Russian group, Stop a Douchebag? Because maybe you could get some of their stickers.
I have not heard of this group, but I'm really liking the story so far.
Well, I want to make sure we don't move on too quickly. Was that everything you've got about your recent...
Yeah, I mean, it was a little disheartening. I went in there if the judge would have let me present my evidence and just plainly said, well, look, we're not granting it, you have a month left, that would have been one thing. But for him to he didn't even let anything be presented. He just automatically, you are not getting a fair trial here today.
Yeah, that's another thing. I mean, it seems to be a running theme on this show and anywhere where people are familiar with police encounters or courtrooms is there's no justice in the courts. And sometimes, even though it violates my conscience to take a plea deal and plead guilty to charges that I see as victimless crimes or not crimes at all, sometimes that is the best method. Sometimes just avoiding court is really the way to go. Any other lessons?
If I had longer, I could appeal it. There's always the option to appeal to a higher court, and by the time I would do that, I'd be done probation anyway. I literally have 30 days left from this point, so I have less than 30 days really because I see her for the last time on the 29th of this month. So, you know what? I'm gonna go in. The last 2 times I went in to see her, I wore a cop block shirt, and the sheriff's guarding the courthouse for probation got a kick out of it. So they all know who I am. They know what's up. My probation officer knows what's up. I went to her supervisor and let them know exactly what I do and that I'm not going to be intimidated. And I think there's an amount of respect there that they see. That,
you know, and as Brian Sumner pointed out, sometimes it's an economic calculation, and there's nothing more valuable than your time. So sometimes just
I don't know, man.
more time in the courtroom is the way to go.
Yeah.
You say you don't know, Dio? Well,
I
hey,
say
we'll talk about it more when we come back from this trip to the market.
This is your Roberts & Roberts brokerage
Hey, it's
daily
Roberts &
precious
Roberts.
metals update.
I love
In
them.
early trading Wednesday, gold is $16 higher at 11.
Yay!
I said it.
You said,
Do you own gold and silver, Derek?
of course.
Do you? I should try to get some. The most I do is Bitcoin, but I even pay taxes when I buy Bitcoin
Why?
because I buy it through Coinbase. So Coinbase takes taxes out when you purchase it.
You can use local bitcoins.
Yeah, I thought about doing that. I've heard a couple scams going on, and I was a little turned off by it.
Yeah.
And I really like the convenience. It's linked to my credit card and bank account, so I could literally click instantly and have up to $1,000 in my account instantly.
Oh yeah, Coinbase is great. I've got nothing against them. I use them too. But if you want to acquire bitcoins in a way,
Non-taxable fashion.
in a way that enables you to be a little more free with your money, localbitcoins.com is a great way to meet up with people in person, trade bitcoins for cash or whatever, and that's what I've used.
I mean, I feel I've heard a few.
Get Bitcoin off the back of a truck.
I've heard a few stories of people's Coinbase account getting banned because of where they shop. So I buy my coins from Coinbase, but I will not shop off of Coinbase. I buy them and transfer them to an external account and do what I need to do from there.
That's good. Well, yeah, I'm a big fan of Bitcoin. Obviously, I think it's
No, absolutely. I love
a free people.
I love the freedom and more mainstream places. Like I'm pretty sure I can pay my electric bill in Bitcoin if I want to.
That's amazing. I haven't heard of that yet, but yeah, there are ways that you can pay bills in Bitcoin.
There's a lot of places on Amazon that accept Bitcoins.
Well, you can buy anything on Amazon with Bitcoin and get 20% off through a website called purse.io.
You were talking about that before. I gotta check that out.
Yeah, I use it, and I even bought the plane tickets that I used to get out here in San Francisco with Bitcoin.
I'm gonna write that down real quick in my little notes that I keep online.
Yeah, it's a website. Well, cheapair.com accepts bitcoins directly. They even take Dogecoin. I mean, you can buy plane tickets with Dogecoin. It's like it's almost
What is Dogecoin?
a Dogecoin is another cryptocurrency. It's just another currency similar to Bitcoin, but
What is that? What is that website for the Amazon discount?
Purse.io. And if you want to
PRSE.io.
PURSE.io. And if you want to kick a few bitcoins Free Talk Live's way, they set up an even easier website called, I think it's buyatpurse.com. Let me see, buyatpurse.com.
All one word.
No, that's not it. Yeah, it's purse.io is the website that I use. You, the way it works is pretty simple. You make a wish list like you do with Amazon, and then you send the Amazon wish list. You just put the link for that wish list on purse.io.
Mm-hmm.
Fund your account with some bitcoins, and then say the discount that you want. You can have 5% and get it 5% off instantly, or you can wait a day and get 20% off, which is pretty nice. I usually do that.
Yeah, I was loving the discount on Amazon because my wife actually works for them, and we hit our discount threshold. We no longer get a discount because we order everything off of them.
You can get 20% off.
Audio streamed around
All right,
the clock.
coming
on
back
the
to the
air
final
and
segment.
online.
Yeah.
Network at LRN.FM.
Well, we know what happens when you confront the police in the United States, but what happens in Soviet Russia when Stop a Douchebag, a popular YouTube channel that stops bad drivers from their nasty habits, what happens when they stop a cop?
Вот смотрите, вот первый, вот второй, вот третий, по машинам судите. Вот вы перекрыли, смотрите, здесь полоска идет.
Now, the video is in Russian, so I'm going to have to do a little bit of translating for people who are listening audience only. On video, you can see the translations, but basically there's a group of about 10 or so people who are going out into the street and stopping cars from double parking. And a cop is one of these people. He's out in his car in the middle of the road, blocking traffic at about 2 a.m., and the group is saying, hey, you're double parking. And you're trying to give people warnings about this. And the cop is saying, stand over there, stand on the sidewalk, because I said so. Now, he's not giving them the kind of service that you would expect from a public servant, but the kind of service that we have come to expect from cops everywhere. And they're pointing out the double standard here. Here you are, double parking. We're not in danger going out into the street. There's no traffic jam here at 2 a.m.
I like that. Who the hell are you to ask?
It is Russia.
Oh, he's so indignant. I mean, they can't believe that these people would question a police officer. And now they're demanding identification, of course.
Because as little as 20 years ago, they couldn't question the police officers.
I was unaware that Russian cops were not, like, untouchable. I thought that they were allowed to just arrest you, and, like, Russia was not one of those places you want to mess with cops.
Yeah, 20 years ago it was.
They have some rules now.
Mm. The Soviet Union failed, remember?
Yeah.
Well, the restructure was a democracy.
Okay, so their cops are almost like our cops.
Almost.
Yeah, they're saying, write yourself a ticket first before you write me one. I mean, here you are, trying to grab his passport, demanding documents. These people have the cops swarmed with video cameras.
Does that cop have a baseball bat? Or no, that's the guy.
No, he's holding a rolled-up sticker that he was ready to put on the windshield of these cars. It says,
oh, man. That would have been great if he put it on the cop's car.
Yeah, well, we'll see. And they keep demanding identification. There's no reason for them to demand identification. They just keep demanding that these people move out of the street. But the cops are the ones who are in the street.
The funny part is the cop is making the situation so much worse rather than just not double parking. When they confronted him, he could have moved his car and parked in a normal spot.
It's their ego, Severin. They can't back down. Once they've been shown to have actually been the cause of the problem, they have to show that somehow, oh, everyone else who's pointing out that they're the criminals are the problem. And they're not getting anywhere with it. You know, one advantage that these Russian activists have right now is that they outnumber the police. It's just 2 of them and about 10 of the activists.
Yeah, I'm surprised like 10 more cops didn't show up right there.
Well, they haven't watched enough American film yet.
Russia's freer than America right now. That's what it looks like. That's what I'm getting out of this video. Because if that was America and 10 people came up to an American cop, there would be 10 more cops on the scene within a couple minutes.
Yes, it's quite amazing to have lived through and seen that shift. You know?
Well, they're trying to throw him in the back of the car now. And I'll remind you again, they have not moved the car. So they are in the middle of the street, claiming that the people nearby them, who are pretty much on the sidewalk, are the problem. But they are not. Being in the middle of the street in their car, that's not a problem. But standing and pointing out that the cop is in the way, that's a problem.
Yeah, it's
They're
amazing.
just completely manhandling that guy.
It's amazing to me to see because, like I said, when I was a kid, the very same things that are going on here now are the same things that we were chastising the Russians for back then. All the little Reaganites are running around saying, "Oh, look at these Reds and these Russians and shit," and you know, it's like, hey, fast forward 20 years and look at yourself, motherfucker.
Yeah.
Well, how do you think this would go in the U.S.?
I think that they would have definitely gotten somebody would have been in cuffs since there would have been violence by now because they're pretty confrontational to the cops. The cops around here don't like that. Somebody would have been tased.
There wouldn't have been any more video except for body camera footage because all the other cameras would have been on the ground because they would have been all handcuffed and not able to hold them any longer.
Mm-hmm.
So right now the cops are writing a ticket to these activists for being in the way. Obviously the irony here is that the cops have their cop car in the way, in the middle of the street. They're the ones who are in the way, so the activists are pointing this out, saying, write yourself a ticket first. I mean, they're doing a public service here. They're moving cars along. They're saying, hey, all you double parkers, you're being assholes. Get out of here. Then when the cops are the assholes, oh, now it's time to write a ticket.
Сотруднику полиции? Ну да, вы сами отвечаете. Значит, по моему требованию нужно предоставить паспорт. Конечно, он вам предоставил, вы его помяли. Естественно, он больше не ходит.
And it all comes down to demanding compliance. These cops are just not satisfied. They're demanding documents, and then they want to not only see the documents, but take it out of their hands. And with those documents, of course, they're writing tickets. And the activists continue to do their activism right in front of the police as they are writing tickets. Well, a lot of courage in this group. Yeah, instead of saying, yes, I'm wrong, they start to defend their right to douchebaggery. And this time, those who are called to fight with it and be a role model to others acted the same way. When we asked the police officers to park their car properly in order to clear 3 parking spaces, they couldn't find anything better to do than write us a ticket for jaywalking. No, we just saw that last week. We reported on a young man who got a ticket for jaywalking in Allentown.
Yeah, he was actually arrested and brought to juvenile hall for it.
Unbelievable.
And
we're not going to get time to cover the Natasha McKenna story, but just briefly, the video was released of Natasha McKenna, a young woman who suffers from some kind of mental disability in Virginia. She was caged in the wrong jail cell because the Arlington Police Department wouldn't hold her. She needed mental health evaluations at a hospital, not being locked up in a cell. And when men came in hazmat suits with shields and gas masks to come take her away, she was rightfully terrified for her life, where she was suffocated by these men, tased to death. She actually stopped breathing and was killed by their actions. None of the police were found guilty of any misconduct. Of course, they were just doing their jobs. But fortunately, even after the district attorney cleared the police of any wrongdoing, the Fairfax, Virginia sheriff issued a video apologizing for the incident and demanding her own internal investigation. I have at least the beginning of that video for you right here.
Sheriff Stacey Kincaid, the Commonwealth Attorney announced that he will not be seeking criminal charges regarding the in-custody death of Natasha McKenna. I want all of you to know this tragic incident has been ingrained in my mind from the day that it occurred. It's my responsibility as your sheriff to ensure that something like this never happens again. I also want to express my condolences to Ms. McKenna's family for their loss and give them the opportunity to view the video which you are about to see.
And we won't have time to watch that, but I do just want to quickly plug our favorite store is the Cop Block store, where you can get all kinds of gear like Dio and Severin are wearing. Copblock.org/store.
All the stuff behind me.
All the stuff behind me.
And let me just say real quick, I have gotten out of more than one incident with cops driving because of those copblock.org bumper stickers. They see them on the back of your car, and they run the other way every time. I'm not telling you won't get a ticket because I can't say that, but I'm saying they know when they see that bumper sticker that they better think twice before pulling you over.
And all orders over $15, get a free bracelet with it, man. Order them up.
Amen, brothers. Hey, it's been a great show with you guys. Thanks so much for doing Cop Block Radio with me today. Let's do this again next week, shall we?
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Until next time, check out copblock.org. And remember, badges don't grant extra rights.
Peace.
Lehigh Valley Cop Block on Facebook. Come check us out.
By the Princeton University Department of Biology.